New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, and welcome to Rockin the Love. That's what we're here to do. I'm Robyn Olmstead.
And I'm Gil William Olmstead, and we are with you virtually every Wednesday, except for maybe last week when we were pre-recorded. But other than that, we're usually with you every week, and it's our pleasure to talk about relationships.
It is. All of that is true. So, hello to everyone out there. We know you're out there, even though you don't like to speak up. We welcome you speaking up and putting your comments in the chat. It's so much fun when we get to talk to you. So feel free to do that. And even if you're watching this later and it's recorded, you can go ahead and put comments in there too, and we'll respond when we get the little notices. So do that and like us, if you will, like us and New Thought Media and all those good things. The algorithm helps us to be seen more and to get the word out there. So we're doing our part, and we're inviting you to join in and do yours by doing all that good stuff. So what's our show about in general, Gil?
In general. Oh, you mean in general the show every week kind of thing? Oh, okay. Our show is about the joy of relationship. And when you think about that, wow, what isn't a relationship? Everything, we are always trying to figure out how we're going to interact and be in communion, in partnership, in whatever it is with whoever and whatever we're dealing with. You know?
Yeah, so it's not only emotional relationship or technical, physical relationship, but it's just relationship to everything. So that's what we're going to explore. And if you're a regular listener, you will remember over the past few weeks, we've had people on that we're going to be presenting at the conference in Las Vegas that just happened. And if you're a new listener, there was a conference in Las Vegas last weekend with where we all gathered from Unity, from Centers for Spiritual Living, from Agape, and we all came together to just express new thought in the desert. So we're going to share with you some of the stuff that went on there and some of the things we learned and talk about some of the concepts. And so we'd love to have you hang out and do that. But before we do that, we're going to do something else. How's your week?
Well, outside of the 24 hours in the car, my week was really good. Even the 24 hours in the car was good.
Yeah. So, yes.
So we drove from Albuquerque to Las Vegas, and actually it was pretty nice most of the time driving, and it was sort of relaxing and a chance to talk and all those things. And we had our good friend Marilyn with us, and we solved several problems of the world on the way, and on the way back we reconstructed more things. So it was fun. So the week was pretty much consumed with being at the conference, and it's weird when you go to these things. You know how you kind of think you might rest, but then you find yourself so caught up in what's going on, you don't even remember that you were going to rest.
I remember. I remember because I was tired. I was like, and we had another friend join us from Colorado there who was excited to be there and to go gamble and to do stuff. And so it was that balance of like, oh my God, how do I take care of myself and make my friend happy and do what, visit and have a good time.
Yeah, and
But I did it.
Go to the thing all day, and then now we're gonna go to the casino and act like we're having fun, and then we're gonna go and it was that kind of a thing. Oh, but you know what's fun?
No.
Outside our window, if any of you are familiar with the Sphere in Las Vegas, which has been built, which is like a giant geodesic dome, where they have performances and they have movies, etc. inside, but the whole outside is like a screen, and they're playing all these different things all the time. And it was literally just across the way from our hotel window.
It was great. It was very entertaining. And it wasn't like a lot of people ask, wasn't that bothersome, the lights? No, it wasn't. It was, I don't know what they're doing with the lights in Las Vegas, but to me, they seemed very toned down. I mean, they're still glitzy and bright, but it was very doable.
It seemed a little less eye annoying in general. Yeah. Well, certainly that wasn't hard to deal with. So how did you feel about your week?
Yeah, it was great. It was very fun. And just in general, I'm going to just start off by saying thank you to everybody who was there and attended and made it happen. And to all of you out there, it's really a fun event, something you should try to go to next year. And we'll make sure and give you some more notice so that you can make those kind of plans. But it was, people were so generous and so giving, and a woman donated the place where we stayed, like a Airbnb, and it was really just beautiful. I mean, the people, they fed you breakfast and lunch and all these things that we didn't expect, and we really felt taken care of. So that was really great. And it was fun to be with all the people. And for me, I will say, as a empathic person, it was a lot of energy. It was a lot of energy because every speaker that spoke was good and said something that resonated, and there was a lot of stuff moving in there for people. You could feel it. So it was good and fun, but it was tiring. It was tiring. Like, I could have been in Vegas like 2 or 3 more days to just lay by a pool, and
well, evidence of that is how quickly we bounced out of bed this morning. Yesterday we had stuff we had to do after we got home at midnight the night before, but today we had a little more leisurely morning, and neither one of us was excited about getting started. We just needed to rest,
Yeah, there's that.
And so, yeah, but it's emotional rest as well as physical, probably even more than physical rest. Right. It's emotional rest.
And we're going to tell you so much more. We're going to give you all the tips and nuggets that we can remember and pack into this hour that we got after the break. We even got some nuggets from our very own Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, the founder of New Thought Media Network, who spoke, and all kinds of people. So we'll let you know about that. But before we do that, it's time for the good news. This is our segment where we talk about what's good in the world, because so much good is going on that we don't get to hear about. And, we know we can always find out where the negative is going on. So we're just taking a minute to just acknowledge the good news and live in that energy. So what do you got?
Well, I have got a story for us today about a group of people that came together and said, how can we take care of and not allow the food that's extra, that's close to expiration, that's in restaurants and about to go, whatever, all the food that's out there that ends up in the trash can. How can we redirect that for people that can actually use it, and divert it from our landfills? Mm-hmm. And this group in Pittsburgh, and they created an app which is not unlike DoorDash, And people go on the app and they find out where there's some food that they've been notified needs to be picked up, and they go and get it and bring it to the central location. And they started this in like 2019 or the late 20 teens. And now, by 2019, they had 25,000 volunteer drivers.
Wow. Wow.
And now they are not only in Pittsburgh, they're in like 7 or 8 other states and cities. They're everywhere. They're in Colorado. They're all places across the country. And they've actually diverted enough food out of the landfill in a year to be the equivalent of 4,000 cars of pollution.
Wow.
It's like taking 4,000 cars off the road just because they're, doing that. Plus, they've fed so many people.
Right.
So many, millions of meals have come out of this. And it's just a really fascinating thing. I'm really intrigued, and I'm really interested in it. Finding out more about, whether or not that's something that's happening here, and whether or not,
you can drive volunteer in your free
time.
time?
I want to know if I can go out and drive around in circles out there. No, I just was thinking about the food bank here in Albuquerque in New Mexico, and could something like that be connected to those kinds of things? Interesting though.
Very interesting.
But it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of hard work and willingness, and really a desire to care, a desire to do something for the community.
Right, because it doesn't sound like anyone's making any money.
No.
Or any great shakes worth of money if they are.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you one other statistic. Okay. In the U.S., as much as 40% of our food that's produced goes to waste. Meanwhile, 1 in 7 people is hungry. So what is that? Under 15%? So 40% of the food's gone to waste, but only 15% of the people really need food, but they're not getting it. So, it goes back to the old argument that there's plenty of food. It's all about distribution and getting it to the people that need it affordably. So there you go.
That's great. Well, my story, I decided to do a very simple story because sometimes I like those stories that are just really doable. So in Australia, they were about to have a rainstorm, a downpour. It was supposed to be super heavy rainstorm. And a delivery guy, like a UPS guy or something, was out making his deliveries. And he got to this lady's house and he saw that her laundry was hanging on the line. And he knew it was going to be, it would get ruined, that it would get taken off. So he took her laundry and folded it and put it over in a, where it was safe and dry.
Say a basket on the porch or something.
Yeah, exactly. Put it in a basket on the porch. And when she got home, she was like, what happened? And then she watched on her camera and saw that he had, done it. And it went viral, of course. And those are the simple things that are so doable. I mean, how many times do we see something where we really could make a change? Or, I always go to this time I was at Disneyland, and this little girl was waiting to get on the tram at night. It was super late, and she was cold, and she was like really cold. And I don't know, I had a blanket or I had something that I was like, why didn't I just give it to them? Why didn't I just hand it to them? But I mean, things like that where you can just make a difference, and it's not a big deal. Like the guy just thought, I'm putting her laundry in, but it really is a shift in consciousness, and it just gives so many people, I mean, it just gives us it gives us permission.
Yeah.
It gives us permission, which is sort of what the workshop,
the whole weekend was about. It was about being who you are and being the light that you're called to be, and not getting caught up in the why it can't work, why it shouldn't work, why it's embarrassing, why it's,
how it should be done,
whatever those things are.
Yeah, all of those things. So yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. It's just our invitation and our opportunity to be who we've come to be. So don't go away. come back right here and be who you're supposed to be right here, right now. Join us right back here on New Thought Media Network. We'll see you in a minute.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Well, hello there. This is Dr. Sydney Steen. I am the senior minister and spiritual leader of the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. We are a oneness center for spiritual living. And I just want to invite you to something that I think is really, really special. In October, from the 6th to the 10th, at Unity Village in Lee Summit, Missouri, the Affiliated New Thought Network will be hosting the most wonderful retreat. This will serve your soul. It will lift your heart. And oh my goodness, I want to call it an advance. So come hear wonderful speakers like Martha Creek, Sonny Cantrell, and the music will be off the hook with Ricky Byers. There will be so much there to support your soul. I hope that you will join us. You can go to antn.org. That's antn.org. You can get all the information. You can sign up. You can use a credit card, and it is safe and secure, and I hope to see you there. Have a blessed day.
Hello, we are back on Rockin the Love. I am Robyn Olmstead.
And I am Gil Olmstead. And we like each other. We're a married couple doing this show. We've been doing it for 3+ years now, and we're all about relationships. So today, what are we talking about?
We are excited to talk about the conference we were just at, which you were about to read what it was.
Okay, it was called Linked in Spirit, Join in Joy, a new thought gathering for connection, collaboration, and community. And just a note, just a moment ago, you saw Reverend Sydney Steen doing a little ad for an upcoming event. She was at the event and presented and was a part of it, and it was great to get to meet her and hear her. So anyway.
And let me tell you, if you're anywhere near where she is, you want to go. Because she's hysterical, she's insightful, she's funny, she's fun. She's really, it's. I'm sure their conference is going to be great. So yeah, I would definitely say that. And I just said to Gil, we should have her on the show next week to talk about it. So maybe you'll meet her there. So we're going to just go over some of the stuff with you and talk about who was there and how it flowed.
And why it was important.
So the conference opened up with Dr. Rima. And Dr. Rima, say a little bit about her.
Dr. Rima, I'm trying to figure out. She did a workshop and had a whole thing about coming from your heart and talking about mystical practices that help us stay calm and grounded and connected, particularly in these times, that we're going through right now.
It was really, to break it down even more, it was really more about what choices can I make, right? What choices can I make? And she encouraged us to really look at every day as a divine vacation. She talked about, what would it be like if every day you created your divine vacation? Because you are vacationing with the divine, in essence. We don't know how long we're on this vacation for, and so what would that be like?
Yeah, that was a really neat concept, I thought. What's it with this life is like we're on earth for a vacation. And so what if we treated it like that every day? And so we were excited about what was new or what we might be learning or, what we might be trying or,
Yeah, I think when you're on your vacation, right, you're looking at your time in a different way.
Yeah.
You're looking at what's possible and what do you want to accomplish and achieve and what do you want to see, and do you want to go to the beach or the pool? And, there's that energetic of something new.
Yeah. So she really kind of kicked us off into this really looking at our relationship with ourselves and with time and with spirit, and how do we view that and how can we up level that so that it's more satisfying both to us and to our ability to show up in the world. I thought that was pretty cool. So
it was cool. And she gave us a lot of tools. Do you have her full name?
It's it's Dr. Rima Bonario.
Yeah, and if you Google her, you'll be able to find.
I was trying to see exactly where she was from, and I don't see it.
Find that information, but she gave a lot of tools and was very open to sharing those things with us. And I had something else in my head, but it went out. Anything else you want to talk about her?
No, just that we appreciate her and she was around. And this is one of the cool things about this time together was that there really wasn't the sage on the sage concept where, somebody came and did their thing and then disappeared. People that were participating were the same people that would be presenting in different ways, whether they were the musicians or whether they were speaking or whether they were doing a workshop, it didn't matter. And there were a whole lot of other people that were just participants, if you will, which there's no such thing as just a participant, but it made it really, really feel like we were all there creating together. And that's this whole idea we're talking about oneness. How can we, and that's the thing, I was looking in here to see like where Dr. Rima was from, if you will. And I realized one of the things we didn't emphasize was where people were from, what their denominational connection was, what their background was, unless it was pertinent to what they were speaking about, right? Unless they were offering it as part of their story to tell you something. But otherwise, it wasn't important. What was important was that everybody was there and we're all showing up for the same basic reason. Okay, I've thrown you off. Are you ready?
I am ready. I think that I was just going to add the one thing I thought also she talked about was being able to have a redo, like that nothing was, this isn't how she said it. This is my interpretation that we can always, nothing's set in stone, that we can always have a redo, it's just, yeah.
Right. because it happened, because something, an experience has happened, something, whatever, that is what is true up to now. And that does not mean it has to dictate what comes after that.
Yeah, and she talked about recursion and fractal this and fractal that, and then I couldn't quite stay present there, but I wrote it down because I thought the concepts were good, and like I like to learn more about it. It's just it got a little technical for my woo-woo brain. So
funny.
The next speaker was Dr. Sydney.
Yeah. And Dr. Sydney is the senior minister, spiritual director at the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science, a oneness center for spiritual living, as she said. And what's funny is she actually showed up before a workshop asking a question of the other workshop and sharing a little something. And it was just so great to have that kind of participation going. But anyway, she talked about, do you know what her title was?
Yes, her title was Hold the Frequency of Love.
Ah.
But even more important, I want to say she kicked off her talk with this statement. Can you afford the consequences of your thinking? Which is for Ernest Holmes said that. Can you afford the consequences of your thinking?
Wow.
Yeah, it's just breathe that in for a minute while I say hi to Shay. Hi, Shay. We're currently just talking about the workshop we were at and giving y'all an update of all the things we got and we learned. And
Can you afford the consequences of your thinking?
I mean, I think that's such a great question because, there's only one of us here. Yeah. So,
yeah,
really powerful to think about that.
Well, one of the things that really struck me about Sydney was that she shared some stuff about different things she's gone through and places where people had told her to tone it down. And, if she had decided in her mind that was the truth and she believed that, how different what would be the consequences of that about her life? But she was clear that was not who she was here to be, was toned down. She had something to say, continues to have something to say, and she was going to do it. And not just something to say, it's something to be,
Yeah. And I mean, it reminds me of the conversation we were having with our producer earlier, because she, of course, met all kinds of resistance in going through ministry and paneling to become a minister or a practitioner or affiliate or whatever, all of those things. And, when you're in those situations, you make a decision in that moment. Am I going to play this game or am I going to be who I am? And, so she talked about that. And I thought that was really powerful. She also said, distractions become excuses for not living our dreams. Distractions become excuses for not living our dreams.
And is that not so true? We don't have time because we're doing this, because we have to do such and so. No, that's a distraction from what we're called to be about. I mean, we allow whatever it is to take our focus, and then we turn it into the excuse.
Well, yes. And if we get caught in the excuses, we're distracted. I mean, and we're not paying attention to the greater expression that's seeking to emerge, to the knowingness of who we are and what we came to do. We get caught up in, I can't do it today. I don't have the right outfit, or my hair's not right, or whatever. So can we, pay attention to the greater idea seeking to emerge as opposed to getting caught in those distractions?
Yeah, I was thinking about it as you were saying it, in terms of like you and I in living together and being married, and how how easy it is or would be to allow, whatever it was, whether it's work or volunteer things or whatever, to become distractions for our relationship. You know what I mean? Because then they become an excuse for why things aren't working rather than working through whatever is happening in our relationship, and how easy that would be. And it really struck me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point. Yeah. So much of what she said was just so poignant. She also talked about if one of us is getting the message, then all of us is getting the message.
Mm.
And I love that, and it leads me to everything that's going on in the world right now, and it just makes me think, that's all the times when I think, I don't know if this is working or if it's in motion, if it's moving along, positive, negative, but if one of us is getting the message, all of us are getting the message. So no matter what that looks like in translation, and for me, it's none of my business. It's just knowing that me doing the work, by me doing the work, people are getting a message. How it's interpreted or what it feels like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I know that it can only be good on some level.
Yeah.
What else did she talk about? She talked that we have to do our inner work to prepare our consciousness, that we really, how important practice is. And, for those of you out there that are new to new thought or old to new thought, either way, it may just be a tiny tweak in your practice. It may be upping your meditation time another 5 minutes, or it may be knowing that you are doing meditation time when you're taking a walk or whatever it is. But it's just the thought of, elevating, constantly seeking to elevate, because, as she said, the world needs us to shine. And quoting Howard Thurman in the voice of the genuine, the world needs us to shine.
Mm-hmm. And it's not about shining for us. It's about shining what we're here to share.
And she also talked about, here's an actionable thing for y'all out there that want to journal about something or do something. She said, she was talking about when people are disgruntled with spirit, with God, and upset. And she said, write a want ad for your God. Write a want ad for the God you want. What are the qualities? What is it that you're seeking for God to show you that God is God, kind of thing? And to be that place you go, as a partner, to know that that's your partner that's got your back all the time. And I thought that sounded like could be a fun thing.
Well, I think she was very funny, and her title in the book here is called "Get Thee Behind Me, Spanx." So that gives you an idea of her sense of humor. She had a very clear story about that as well.
She did. She's very funny. But and all of that was, all of her talk was really about waking up and letting go of what doesn't serve you, waking up from being in a trance of fear or comfort or whatever trance you're in. Trance. So yeah, that was Dr. Sydney. She was very funny.
And so, moving on, and interspersed in here, we had some fantastic music. One of the musicians that was there that I didn't know before was Deb Varn. And I don't know, I'm not a big music connoisseur or anything, but for me, it was all about her genuine showing up and being who she was that made her music so relatable and make me like it.
Well, and her stories. I mean, she was
Yeah.
very real. She recently became a practitioner like 2 years ago, and just talking about writing songs during training. And one of the songs was all about forgiveness, and she talked about how she got a Southern accent, and so of course that makes her cute and funny already. And she was like, gave you this whole thing on forgiveness, and she's like, and so I wrote this song about it, and she goes, but I just want you to know she still can't ride in my truck or sit at my table. So it was very authentic and real and fun. It was great.
And Shay apparently knows Deb too, so that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard her before.
Yeah, no, she's great. Yeah, so that was Dr. Sydney. That was Deb, and the ultimate message of Dr. Sydney was, don't let anyone tell you who you are.
Yeah.
Be who you are. So that was that. So then we went to Christina Lippman. Is that right?
Lippman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And she talked about grief to grace.
And she was visiting from Hawaii. She is starting a ministry over there. And yeah, so she talked about now is the moment. And she shared some Hawaiian stuff with us, and that we were Ohana, which is family in Hawaiian. And just really talked about joy and joy juice within you, and the joy is eternal, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and joy is beyond happiness. It's not happiness. It's the thing that motivates us, is the joy.
And I think in terms of being with all these people, and yes, we were a group of 70 people or whatever we were. And I really felt like each of you were in the room with us. I feel like everybody's congregation, or where people minister, or New Thought Media Network, where we talk to you all every week. It's like I really could feel that we were doing the work for all of us on some level, and really opening up to that possibility. And so she talked a little bit about we can't be separate from each other.
Mm.
We can't be separate from each other, that we need each other.
Mm-hmm.
We need each other. And that was kind of her thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, in that room, and what you just shared, sometimes you go to these kind of conferences, sort of rah, rah, aren't we great? And what was great about this was rah, rah, we're together. And we're not all CSL, and we're not all Unity, and we're not all this, and we're all here for the same reason. And we want to support what you're doing, whatever you're doing, whoever you are, and wherever you're doing it. We want to see you succeed, kind of thing.
And I would even go a step further, Gil, that beyond that, we are all here together. Because it didn't even feel like that to me. I mean, a little bit, but it felt like we are home.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden there were like these missing pieces to the puzzle, and everybody had just, a little different take on it. Not really, but maybe a wording here and there, but we were all different and connected. And it really was, I think I'd have to say that as many times as people say, welcome home, and you're supposed to feel like, this is, that was one place where it really felt like, yeah, I get it, which, skipping to the end of this conference, is part of the reason the ending really made it real, really solidified that, That was our workshop, but we'll get there. Okay, so next, what happened? Next,
I think we had Dr. Jane Simmons. Is that right?
Okay.
According to your notes, I'm going to look over here and make sure that both things are in the same order.
It is Dr. Jane. The one other thing I want to say that Christina did.
We missed something. Okay.
What was it?
Let's finish out Friday. Okay.
Then what happened?
So we had a panel discussion.
Yeah, that's it.
We had a panel of ministers and practitioners from all different places, all different.
Was there practitioners?
Well, I seemed like somebody was, but anyway, point being, there were leaders, and they were not necessarily from any one group. There was Agape and CSL and Unity all up on the stage, at least, and people were asking questions. They had questions from the moderators, and it was just really, it was uplifting, and it was encouraging, and it was educational all at the same time.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about what ways can we collaborate, what other ways can we collaborate, how do we take quote unquote new thought, which is really right now old thought, into a new thought way. Like how do we, update and make it new thought 4.0 as opposed to, what Ernest Holmes and Emma Curtis Hopkins were doing, when the automobile was invented or before. They didn't have cell phones, they didn't have computers, they didn't have a social media, X and Twitter, and
someone was commenting about the idea of updating, even when we refer back to those people, bringing what they said into the current context, and taking out of it some of the things that may have been okay in the day, but they're really not okay now. That's not that doesn't facilitate being one in our world today, because we know that we've expanded our understanding of inclusion from then, and also we know that includes pronouns of men versus men or women versus whoever, whatever somebody identifies as, all those kinds of things, but bringing it forward, because the meat of it is what we're taking now and allowing ourselves to build on, and the meat is all good, but sometimes people get caught in thinking that they have to talk about it the exact way it was talked about at the time.
Well, even including, everybody talks about DEI now, diversity, equity, inclusion. That's like the buzzword for every meeting and everything. How are we going to be, how are we going to handle, how are we going to support diversity, equity, inclusion? And someone used a different acronym, which was divine expressing infinitely. And so it's those little tweaks of really wrapping our mind around what it is we're really saying and what we're really wanting to experience as an outcome. Because diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest, on some level just pisses me off. It does, because I'm like, why, how can we still be here? How can we not have grasped some tools or some concept? And, people have been going to love-ins and sit-ins and, kumbayaing for decades and centuries. And we still are like, and I'm not saying it's not valid. I totally get that the work is valid. And if I think of it like divine expressing infinitely, then that just brings me to a place of holding it like, it's just a different way of holding it. Like each individual really being supported and nurtured and valued for who they are.
Well, that brings it into the oneness.
Exactly.
Somebody commented on how being involved in some of that not very long ago, 90% of the discussions were about race, white, black,
right,
maybe Hispanic. And it was like, well, that's one of a zillion aspects of diversity,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and, that doesn't deal with male, female. It doesn't deal with people's sexual orientation. It doesn't deal with people who don't identify as either. It doesn't, what'd you say? What was your thing? Divinity, expressing infinitely. Suddenly you get that picture of it. There's this huge oneness. There's this huge thing when you think of divinity expressing. And that's what we are about in terms of the inclusion part of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really looking at where is it that we screw that up? Where is it we don't honor certain people? Where is it we just offend people without knowing it? I mean, without even thinking about it. You know, we put people off to the side, and not our intention, but we just, because of, we don't even realize how it comes across to somebody because we haven't put ourselves there.
Yes. And where do we get stuck in that story? Because if that's what we say and how we explain it, then we're constantly we have that on repeat. We have that on a repeat track. And I think it's really opening it up, like you said, to all the other aspects of it, you know, and for me, the other way to say it just opens that up for me. Mm-hmm. It reminds me that there's so much more.
Yeah. And so anyone that is in existence is expressing the divine. So how do I treat them? How do I honor them? How do I interact with them? And I think that's kind of what I'm coming from with that.
Right.
And I think that's really cool. So anyway.
So that was one day, y'all.
That was one
day.
And that was one day without dinner and a concert.
Yes. We then had a concert by Gary Lynn Floyd, which was lovely and wonderful. And it was Gary Lynn Floyd. It was
very fun.
I mean, he's such an authentic, real, in the moment guy. So that was beautiful and fun to share. So then Saturday morning, we came back and we started with Dr. Jane.
Dr. Jane Simmons. Dr. Jane is from Unity. Some of us have heard of or talked about Gary Simmons, which the two of them together have done a lot of work in this idea of what does it mean to be in ministry. You know, how do we do it in a way that's meaningful to people today? And I'm actually interested in researching some of their stuff. But what I can tell you is she was very authentic and asked a lot of questions of the room and did a lot of working of it. Did you have some of her quotes written down there?
Well, she started, or what I heard her start with was talking about opening your heart and embodying self-compassion. And she did a lot on self-compassion. And then she talked about things that come up for you. And she was like, okay, we notice it, we name it, and we let it go. So if something comes up and you go, oh, that's bad. that's bad, or oh, I don't want that, or whatever you label it. Okay, so you've seen, this is my interpretation. You've acknowledged that you see it, you acknowledge that you're naming it, and then you let it go. We're not going to even get into the conversation about if it's the truth or not. We're just going to go straight to releasing it. So you let it go. You just let it go. It's been recorded, and you let it go.
Yeah, if it's sadness, if it's anger, if it's agitation, whatever it is. And I think her reason for that, what she talked about was that idea was when we don't name it, we don't acknowledge it, then it stays there under the surface. And then other things happen, and this same emotion or whatever comes up and it doesn't complete. I think one of the things she said that got me was that, and I don't know where this came from exactly, but she said that the natural cycle of emotions, if you will, takes 90 seconds where
right.
We have the emotion and it moves through us and it leaves.
She said, her quote was, emotions have a 90-second lifespan.
Yeah. However, when we don't acknowledge it, then it sits there until it gets acknowledged.
So why don't you just breathe for a minute out there? Really, really, really take that in. Emotions have a 90-second lifespan. So we can really let them pass through. We don't have to carry it on for years or days or months or weeks.
well, not only do we not have to, but we put ourselves in positions of angst and unrest and whatever the heck it is by not allowing it, not acknowledging it. We hurt ourselves, basically, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
It ends up becoming something, and then we have a story around it, and then blah, 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 blah.
Right. So that was good.
Yeah,
I'm
she
gonna
was
run this
great.
through
As
for
with
5
everything,
minutes.
she was great.
Then we had Cynthia Ambrose, Reverend Cynthia, who talked about her journey to, is it Egypt?
I think so.
No, I don't think so. But it was a journey with Sue Mortar. I can't remember exactly where. And just talked about her experience of the Divine Mother and these entities that were breathing life into her, which was super interesting. We are going to have her on the show, so you'll be able to hear a little bit more about that experience.
Yeah, she was very, very in depth and very willing to share what what she had come to find,
Right.
which isn't the standard story, if you will.
No, but she talked about this being the age of unconditional love and what that means, and really for us to be able to let go of right and wrong and be able to see as God sees.
Wow.
So that was that. And then we had, drum roll please, Reverend Robert Brzezinski. And his conversation was about listening more deeply. And deeply we are one, as you've heard.
Deeply we are one. That's right.
Media. And what else would you say?
And yeah, and in his desire to find all the ways to bring us together, all the ways to help us, all the ways for this concept of new thought, which is this concept of the whole idea of the oneness of spirit and inclusiveness of all paths and all of these things is bound together rather than being splintered apart.
Right. And he talked about this life is a living invitation to celebrate, and that life is intense. It's intense right now. And what does that mean? That means it's time to intensify your practice. So that was a great.
Well, the next person really landed that one.
Right.
Yeah. So after Dr. Robert, we had Reverend Carlton Thibaut from Agape.
And his topic was link in, light up, and love loud.
Yes. And, it was really fun because we've known Carlton for a long time, and it was great to see him and hear him, but he was really clear about how when things intensify in the world, we intensify our practice. We up our game, in essence, in terms of knowing the truth of who we are and standing in that. And so, we link into this to the knowingness. And what was the next one? Because I remember light up. We light up. We show our light. We light up. We show up as light in the world, and we know that's what we're here to do. And we love loud. And I think, who can argue with that? I mean, loving loud to me just says, you don't hold back. You don't try to decide what's right or who really deserves it or what they need, or, it's like, if love is being called forth, that's what we show up as. So there you go.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. He gave beautiful examples of things in his life where he didn't think he had, the love of a parent or the love of somebody, and realized later that he had that all along in the love of his uncle or the love of other people. So it was really great. And I believe, I don't know where, but I believe this is available on New Thought Media, the whole conference. And I meant to check that out before we did this show so I could tell you that. But, check it out. Check it out.
We can confirm for next week.
Then we had Reverend Jason from Agape as well. And Jason spoke about
links in the eternal chain. We're called to each other. We're called to each other. So about how we're called together.
and he was on fire, and it was really an invitation to know that, y'all, there's no escaping it. You have been invited to this party for a reason, and it's imminent that you shine your light. And that was basically his.
And before Reverend Jason, we had Reverend Ozia.
Oh, yeah.
Sekou, who talked about the threads of the invisible, weaving sacred connections in a spirited world, which he was good. But I can't tell you what he said because I was like going, okay.
Because it was getting close to our time.
And it was getting close to our time and I was doing things. And then in between there, we had Mariliz Monson, who just showed up and took us through a breathing and being in touch with our bodies and who we are and our breath exercise that was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. And then we had us tie it together, and we don't have time to tell you about it.
That's
but
right.
we rocked it out, and we did something different than everybody else because it had all been speakers, and we took them on a journey. We gave them, they had to take passport pictures, and they got their very own passport and their invitation to power, presence, and possibility. And we took them through a journey on an island. We made them come in and change the room around, and everybody at one point got in groups, and they created what was next for New Thought. They took it from old New Thought into New Thought 4.0, and each group created and presented, and it was amazing and fun and connective, and really, really took us all to a deeper level of connection. And that is what it's about. You want to say something quickly?
We are one deeply. That's it. It was just all about oneness and connection. And it was so fun. It's so fun to watch a group of adults have a good time, you know?
With clay.
Yeah.
We had clay and balloons and all kinds of toys and beach balls for them to put together in their presentation. And it was super fun. It was super fun. And it was, I have to say too, Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson was there doing interpretation for the deaf, along with
Rainica.
And they were incredible. And the woman that was there from the deaf community at the end of this 2-day thing wanted to speak, and she didn't want to speak in front of groups, but she signed and Rainica translated for her. And it was so moving because it was the force field and the trust that had been built and the possibility. And she's so excited about the possibility and taking that to the community. And that's what all of this is about. It doesn't matter where you're watching from or what you subscribe to. It's your light that's going to move it onto the community. And this is why we say, rock the love, because that light is the love. And it's your job to take it out into the world and rock the love. And so we just invite you.
All of us. I'm just saying, it's all of us.
Did you think I wasn't doing my part?
No,
it's all of ours. I'm talking to them.
Okay.
It's their job and our job. That's why we're doing what we do. This is our way of doing it. Regardless of if you like us or if you don't, it's still our way of being who we are. And if you like us, don't forget to hit that like button. We love you. And we love our producer for showing up and rocking the love with us every week, Michael Mangus. And we love Shay for showing up and liking us. And we love all of you. And even you that watch later, Reverend Franny. And
we've discovered we have some new friends that we didn't even know were watching us.
It's so fun when y'all come up and go, I watch you. Anyway, just rock the love and just know that we're doing it. It's not something that you have to do differently. It's just be aware that you matter in that. And so we're right there with you, and we're out there with you, in the force field of love. And so rock the love, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Love you, Shay.